Hey Taurus, this is EJ from Taurota Tarot. I thought I better cut the video on because cards are just jumping around. I'm going to do a dig deeper for love reading. I wasn't satisfied with my reading for love. Well, with my reading yesterday as far as love was concerned. It just seemed like it was more about work and groups and collaboration, bunch of bullshit. Oh, I don't know what the hell's going on in love life. Hell with that. So I'm sitting here. I'm using the new deck, the Simply Deep Tarot by Chanel Bayless. The art is by James Battersby. I'm using that deck just because I like it so much. I've already shuffled my Radiant Rider-Waite tarot cards. For clarification, I'm sure I'll be referring back to those in a minute. But the first two cards while I was shuffling the Simply Deep cards that came out was the Lover's card and the Chariot. And either one is about decision making. The Lover's card is about sacrificing, choosing either to lose yourself in a relationship or to keep your emotional distance, about soulmate energy, making choices, sacrificing, maybe not going to school right away so you can hook up with this person, or maybe leaving an area and moving to another area. Those kinds of sacrifices that you make when you get into relationships. So these two fell out first while I was shuffling. I'm going to finish shuffling. I'm going to just leave these two here. I'm sure Spirit is getting ready to tell me exactly what I need to know about those two cards. In the meantime, I want to get some clarity about whatever personal one-on-one relationships Taurus has currently, and also whatever potential energy that may be lurking around that we can't see or we're not paying attention to. So I'm going to just draw 3 cards. I'm very sorry. I have very loud neighbors, so I can't hear what I need to hear when they're talking. At any rate, I'm gonna just draw 3 cards and keep drawing until we get to where we need to go. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, angels. And this is for Taurus, December 2018. Dig deeper. Find out what's going on with our love relationships. All right. And as a reminder, I don't do reversals. I read straight up. So our first card is the King of Coins. Second one, Strength. And then the 5 of Cups. So we're coming out of a cycle where we've been secure and stable, and have kind of been able to deal with our own personal power, whomever we were with or are with. But at some point we got in that relationship, we just got to a point of misery and had to let it go. So that's where we're coming from. Got the Fool card, the Empress, and the Hierophant. Yeah, this makes sense to me. So after coming out of this cycle up here, some of us, and this is not going to resonate with everybody, or let me just say all of this is not going to resonate with everybody. There are probably going to be bits and pieces that will resonate with almost everybody, but fewer people, the whole thing is going to make sense to you. But where we came from out of this relationship up here, we kind of got the notion that maybe we could just take a risk and fall for somebody different, something different, maybe a more open relationship, something that we may not have been used to. And from that, we got into a thing about valuing ourselves and losing our self-respect because of whatever relationship or situation we got into after this first breakup up here. Which then just, for most of us, I think I can say, when we go through anything that's difficult on the outset, and then from that you get into a situation where you feel like you have actually just made a bad decision, even if it was a very short-term thing, you kind of almost want to go inward. And this is what the Hierophant is saying to me. We had to look at what we believed, and we're still looking at what we believe versus the options people are giving us for relationships. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of the options that I'm getting from people as far as personal romantic relationships are concerned, they suck. It is not committal. It is very loose. It is, oh, well, maybe today, but not tomorrow. And I always look at the astrological energy, not just the person's sign, but what that sign represents. So being Tauruses, we represent Earth. Aquarius, Libras, Gemini, that's air. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, that's water. So when I'm dealing with those signs, I look at the energy that and the element that they come with. And one of the people that I got hooked up with this summer was an air sign. And, oh, Jesus, please, no, never again. Oh, and it's been a difficult thing to let it go because it had some chemistry to it. But me and air, I don't know. I think I'd rather stick with the fire and the water because I hate the air. And anybody that's cross-watching, if you're the air sign, I'm sorry. But man, I cannot keep up. It's too much. And a lot of it had to do with our belief system. And here again, with the Hierophant, you know, I had to really look at what do I believe about relationships. Is it okay for my partner to be out there looking at other chicks and doing other stuff with other people and, you know, just kind of blowing us off? Am I okay with that? You know, and that's a big change for me because I'm a very traditional person. I like traditional relationships, but this person kind of pushed the envelope as far as, you know, what kind of alternative experience do you want? And I don't know that I want an alternative experience. But this is really what the Hierophant is saying. After you come out of situations like this, you have to take a step back and look at your beliefs and look at your values and what's important to you versus what people are throwing back at you. So here we are, moving into the future. We got the Four of Swords, the Seven of Swords, and the Temperance card. So it seems like romantically a lot of us are moving into this short break period. Not really committing, to maybe just kind of dating around, seeing what's out there, seeing if there's anything or anyone or any kind of situation that's really worth committing to at this point, or should we just kick it back and wait and see what's coming towards at the beginning of the year. With the Seven of Swords, we have to be careful about the ideas that we have about our personal relationships and how we share that information with our best friends, our sisters, our brothers, our family, because we don't want to get into sabotaging stuff before it ever happens. So if you look at this Seven of Swords card, you see you got these two sitting at the table like, yeah. And see, we told you if you went over there and you took that sword and you threw it down, blah, 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 what's going to happen. But see, you weren't listening to that kind of energy. a sister talking to a sister. I told you he wasn't no good. Okay, that kind of energy. A lot of times our family will overlay their issues on top of what we have. And so it may be a situation where they wouldn't do a certain thing and they just are going to tell you, you shouldn't do it. That ain't cool. That's not fair. What might work for me may not work for you. But because it didn't work for me, it shouldn't mean that you shouldn't have the opportunity to at least try it if that's what you want to do. And I know particularly, and again, think about the season that we're in. If you're here in America, we're at the holidays. So this is the time of the year where you're around a lot of people you aren't around normally, especially family. And I have family, and I know what we do around the holidays. You know, girl, you shouldn't have been with him anyway, because that's what happened when I got hooked up with so-and-so. Okay. And see, that doesn't do anything but just create bad energy around somebody else's situation for you. So when I'm looking at this Seven of Swords, deception is not always about someone lying to you or someone cheating on you. Sometimes deception can be about someone being so jealous of you they don't give you all the options on the table, or they don't give you all the information they could give you to help you make a good decision. That's deceptive as well, manipulative behavior. And so again, with the Seven of Swords, be careful what you're sharing with folks, because sometimes speaking things into the atmosphere can just jack shit up, just because you had a conversation with your sister and the energy was just so damn negative, circumstances couldn't do anything but be jacked up because you put that energy out there into the universe. So be careful over the holidays about how you're spending your relationship. Sometimes, we're good, everybody at the house is fine. Sometimes that answer is better than getting into a long drawn out about, girl, let me tell you what he did in October. I'm just saying. With the Temperance card here, it's telling me that we need to get centered, because if this has happened over the course of a year, over the course of 5 years, over the course of 10 years, where you were in a long-term relationship that just didn't turn out well for you, and then after you got out of that relationship, you decided you wanted to take a risk, here's the Fool, and do something that you hadn't done or weren't doing prior to, and ended up losing some of your own self-respect, trying to lower your standards against somebody else's, and to meet them where they were, as far as your romantic relationship is concerned, and not working didn't work, and that caused you to step back and take a look at your belief system and your values. So here you are with the short break, and here you are it could be a situation even at work where you may be saying something. So in this cycle right now, I kind of guard what I say, particularly about my personal relationships. Not so much that anybody is going to turn around and tell a whole bunch of people, but just their attitude and the energy they may bring to it may do you more harm than good. Let me pull 3 more. So the Eight of Swords, if we just stand still, if we get to the future, just pick a person and stand still, it's telling me that we can't get insecure or get into entanglements or situations with people because we're feeling insecure, because we're over focusing on our beliefs. So that takes us right back up here where we took a step back to look at our morals and our values and what we believe about personal romantic relationships. And somewhere in the future, we could get hung up on that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to get so bogged down in, well, he's 6'2" and not 6'3", or she's 150 pounds and not 132 pounds. You don't want to get, and I'm over exaggerating, but you get my point. You don't want to get so bogged down into the details that you miss the bigger picture of what's going on. So dude is not driving around in an Audi, but he does have a Chrysler. Okay, well, pick your battle on that one. That's all I'm saying. Don't get caught up in the little picky-nicky details that, you end up letting something go or withdrawing from someone because they're not meeting and checking off every last single box, or maybe their box that they are checking off is just a little different from what you're actually looking for. We are going to be making plans in the future. Three of Coins is telling me we're gonna make a decision about someone, and initially make the decision to move forward with someone. Maybe not fully commit, but at least move in the direction of doing it. And working in a kind of collaborative effort, and individually as we're doing our thing, thinking about coming together. So if you look at the Three of Coins, he's busy working on his stuff, but the thought could be there that he's doing this to make plans for the future to hook up with somebody else. At the end of that, this Two of Swords is just reminding us to really leave all the emotional baggage and bullshit that we got going on up here with the King of Coins and the Strength and the Five of Cups, coming out of that relationship that just wasn't good. It was long term and it just ended up on a bad note, and going into another situation that we took a risk and a leap of faith, but it didn't really work out for us, and it caused us to go back and have to look at our morals and our values and our beliefs, to now where we're kind of taking a step back and taking a rest. We're not really evaluating anything. We're not really coming to any big decisions, but we're meditating on where we'd like to go, what we'd like to do, who we'd like to spend our time with. But being mindful with the Seven of Swords of other people sabotaging our shit inadvertently, not even really meaning to, but just with the negative energy that they bring, they fuck your shit up on some dumb shit. To the Temperance card, where we're remembering to stay grounded, to stay centered, to stay balanced, but somewhere in the future we may get tripped up on just the minute details of the relationship. Instead of letting it move forward, we might just self-impose ourselves into this little trap of the way we think things ought to be. And it kind of goes back to the second row with the Fool taking that leap of faith in that little short relationship that you may have had, where you were trying to do something different. It kind of goes back to that, where you took that leap of faith and you didn't really pay attention to all the details, and now you want to over focus on everything. So in between there, it looks like at some point we're going to be making plans and thinking about getting together with someone, at least making a plan to get to know someone better. But while you're doing that, and while you're thinking about the collaboration, you're still individually working on yourselves. To the Two of Swords, and just remember not to schlep all that shit from the past up here. Don't want to do that. And I think I'm understanding that my Lover's card up here and my Chariot card will make a decision about falling in love and how deeply we're going to do that, if we're going to lose ourselves in the process, or if we're going to remain slightly detached so that we can remain open to love and however it comes to us. The Chariot, there's your crossroads. So you're making the plans with the Three of Coins, trying not to schlep all your shit from the past to here it is, making a choice whether you want to sacrifice with someone, make personal sacrifices to be with someone, to your Chariot. Making that decision, and that decision will probably, for most Taurians, even looking astrologically with Uranus in our chart like it is right now, that decision you make with that person when you get to that point will probably change your path, and in a good way. And I'm focusing on that beam of light that he's standing in. That's positive action. So making that decision and being happy. Taurus, I hope I shed some light on our personal lives and our romance. I hope everybody is having a good December. I will be back here in a couple days with some more stuff. In the meantime, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you soon.